Right, guys, what's up? I just wanted to very quickly kind of break down everything for you from a start to finish perspective in terms of getting your business set up and ready for credit, because there are a few steps you have to do in order to get everything ready to go. So a few things you want to keep in mind. It's interesting and important to kind of focus on which particular banks might be most liable to lend you something. Very good things can be said about Navy Federal Credit Union. Also Pentagon is another big one, and Bank of America is really good too. So those are three to keep in mind. It's just very solid places where you can go if you've got a decent setup of your business and you have good personal credit. You know, you could probably very quickly get 10, 15, 20K per bank, and you can get cards there. Another thing, as I mentioned before, a great card to get is an Amex card. Some people have 10, 12 of them. The ones that give you points and kind of perks are amazing. You might as well be collecting these points while you're doing stuff with these cards that you'd be doing anyway, buying office supplies, buying ads, whatever it might be. Okay, so the real question, I guess, fundamentally is step by step, how do we go about making sure the business is perfectly set up and in what order? A lot of people have no idea. I had to figure this stuff out. But once you have it locked, it makes a lot of sense. So step one is obviously establishing the LLC. That's the first thing you have to do. So, you know, back in the day, this used to be a really crazy, protracted process. If you wanted just to start a company for yourself, you know, you're paying a lawyer, you know, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars in billable hours. There's three ways to do it now that I would say online are the best. LegalZoom kind of pioneered this approach of being sort of just a very cheap, templatized way of getting an LLC off the ground. You pick the state, they'll do it for you. I think it's like $300 or something like that. Step one, LLC. You want to go to LegalZoom, as I just said, or you can also go to incfile.com, incfile.com, and you can also go to Zen Business. Very good. They're all the same service. The most important thing is to do it. There's no reason not to. It opens up a whole new world. It's like having a second person that has their own credit. Except they're way better than having a person. The business credit is much more credible, and you can get much more of it. And it's not like, you know, once you get your business loan, they're not seeing what you're doing with it. So, you know, they're very paid back. Everyone's happy. Interest rate's zero or interest rate's whatever. They're pleased as punch as long as they're getting everything paid on time. That's your cash. So anyway, you've gotten your LLC filed, right? Great. Second thing, as I just said, EIN number. It's a government issued number, it's free. The EIN is like your business's social. It's literally the exact same concept. And it functions the exact same way. It's sort of just a placeholder identifying number that represents the business in question and has a number associated with it, evaluated by credit bureaus, who will then give you a judgment on how creditworthy the business is instead of the person, like your traditional credit, personal credit. So, okay. Next thing, you want to get a DUNS number from Dun & Bradstreet. So Dun & Bradstreet, this is a classic firm, been around forever, and what they do is they have their own kind of proprietary number that they will give you to kind of demarcate this is the business. So that's important too. I think it's free too. They're going to have a few upsells on the website that make it look like you have to buy something, but you can just say no thanks at the bottom, and it's free. They want to have people doing the whole DUNS, it's with dashes in between, a D-U-N-S, DUNS number. And another thing you need to be doing, this is in the early stages of the game, same time you're doing your EIN, etc., is you need to be listed officially. The idea is that you want to be as credible a business as possible to any outside person who's looking into it, because what they're doing when they evaluate your business for creditworthiness is they're checking all over the place to see how legitimate the business is. So it really helps you if you have your own business telephone. You want to have your own URL. That's a legitimate website that has something official looking, at least, you know, hopefully a functional website, but at least something. You want to be listed in all of the, yellow pages. You want to be wherever you can get listed in official directories. That's crucial, because if they want to look up a business, you know, imagine if, hey, you're trying to figure out if Joey's Fishing Shop is a real deal. So we're going to Google it and we don't see any address. There's no storefront. There's no address for it. Or it's a weird P.O. box. Not going to work. There are a few options that are very smart that you can do instead of getting an actual address, paying rent on a commercial space, it's not worth it, especially if you're a startup or something. Essentially what you do is you pay 20, 30 bucks a month, and they're acting as a virtual mailbox for you. So you get a real deal address at a city of your choice, doesn't have to be where you live. And then all the mail that goes to that business address will get scanned, and you can look at it, which could just be junk mail or whatever. But right, you can actually have that as your mailbox, and that's your new office, which is very smart because that establishes your own business entity. If it's the same as your personal house, that doesn't seem like a legitimate business to a lender. So what do you say? What do we got? You got the EIN, DUNS. We've established sort of like credibility as a business that's a real physical entity, not a fictional entity. We've got a website. Now we need to actually start establishing credit. We need to sort of get vendors going with the business. That's going to be the very first step. You essentially are starting from zero. So, okay, how do we get something going so we can prove our creditworthiness and get our score up, so then we can use that for more and more, get our score higher, get loans, use that to buy things that make us money. That's the whole game. So what you do is you go to very specific vendors that will give you what's called a net 30 account. This kind of sounds like it's all very dry B2B business ease, which it is. It means that you have 30 days net to pay for everything that you've purchased over the past 30. So you get a thing of paper for 20 bucks, July 1st. You got a whole month to write them a check or throw your card in there, and they're going to take the charge for the $20 paper. So that shows that you're good at handling credit, and all it is a thing of paper. So you've got a minimum order 50 or 100 bucks worth of stuff. Where you want to go, I'll tell you specifically. There's a few good ones that everyone uses. Quill.com. Quill, like writing a quill. That's a great one just for buying office supplies. You just need to buy something, buy yourself ink cartridges. You don't have to go crazy. And do it net 30 when you check out. Don't do credit card. It'll be a little option for net 30. You have to put in all your stuff that you've established already. So it'll be, business name, official name, LLC. It'll be the new address that you set up. It'll be a business phone. You can use Google Voice. Hot tip. With your email that you set up for your URL. So you want to be like at company.com, not at Gmail. That kind of looks not as professional. Totally worth the 30 minutes it takes to set up. You put all that into the net 30 thing on Quill and all these other vendors. I'll tell you in a second. And they say, okay, good business. We like that. Approved. As long as you got all your ducks in a row, you got your EIN, you got your DUNS, you got everything else I just said. They'll approve you. And then what you want to do is in the next 30 days, don't mess this up. There's no reason to screw this one up. Put it in your calendar right when you do it. 20 days, 10 days from then. Some people have different philosophies on when you want to do it optimally. But you can find out when they report and kind of do it from there if you think that's smart. I think it would be. And then you pay. So, you pay for that pad of paper, whatever's 50, 100 bucks. And those guys will report to various credit bureaus. It's a slightly different set for business as it is for personal, but it's the exact same idea as these three guys. Equifax, Experian, and DUNS themselves. Those guys you got the number from. So anyway, that's right. So that's all you do. You go to Quill. There's a few others. You go to Uline, uline.com. Same exact thing. If you need, I don't know, I think paper towels, cleaning supplies, any kind of office stuff, just order something. Have it shipped to wherever address you want. Just the billing address should be your company, because you're using a business card. That would be smart. But you don't have to have it shipped there to the random address that you have set up, or your registered agent that you did through LegalZoom. You can do that or whatever, or through a different registered agent. I like Wyoming Registered Agents LLC. They do a really good job as well. It has to be based in Wyoming, but it's a great state to incorporate if you have your choice. California is great. I live here and do business here. I've had an LLC here, but they charge you $100 a year. It's kind of like Delaware is the popular. That's the one where everyone does it all over the world. They want to get a Delaware corporation because their laws are very, very pro corp. Anyway, a few other vendors to tell you about. There's some secret kind of moves you can do besides the classic guys, as I mentioned: Quill, Uline, Granger. Google it. Same kind of shit. Industrial supplies. Excuse my French. Okay. And I'm trying to think who else we got. Oh yeah, exactly. The more tricky guys I was going to tell you. We have Red Spectrum. Check those guys out. Nobody knows about this. This is great. It's kind of a business where I think they know what the deal is. They want to set up a business where you can just very easily buy some random thing, negligible. It doesn't really matter. That's not the point. Pay it back immediately, and then they say, hey, this guy's the best. He pays his credit stuff on time. we're going to report a trade line, which is like the vendor's amount that they give you. So if you have $1,000 trade line, that Granger guy I just mentioned, Quill, Uline, they're going to say, this guy can buy $1,000 worth of stuff a month, and that's his limit. You can't go over that. He's got to pay that back in 30 days, but he's got that leeway. So, in case he's got a cash flow problem or something, who knows? It's nice. Good for businesses, so that's why they do it. So what you want to do is have as many of those as possible, because let's say you have, 5 different ones that are $2,000 of these little trade lines where you're buying paper and stuff. All of a sudden, hey, this guy is handling 10 grand worth of credit every single month very responsibly. Guess what? The credit guys are going to say these guys are the best. So really improves your score. So Red Spectrum, it's kind of innovative. Just Google them. It's just redspectrum.com. Took me forever to remember what the heck it was. I kept having to look them up. These guys have something where you can just sign up for like a business builder that's every single month, just like the self-lender for personal, like I mentioned. Good model. They're just doing it for business. So so you go to them and it's $100 startup fee, and then it's $50, I believe, a month after that. And they're just charging you $50 for just being a good sport. But what it shows is that you're paying $50 on this big I think $2,000 trade line of credit that they're extending to you or something like that. So every month they're reporting that this guy's a great payer of the $50 that he owes us for whatever, just for helping him out with the credit. Really, it's like a digital product. So that's every month they're reporting. As long as you keep paying, they will keep saying this guy's got amazing credit. Should have amazing credit because he's a good borrower. So that's smart, right? There's a few other little kind of hack things like that too, where the company kind of is there to help you get your business credit off the ground from zero. That's why they exist. That's how they make their money, which really isn't that much for what they're providing you, I think. They are called Summa Office Supplies, SUMMA Office Supplies. And they only will sell you the digital products on Net30. Like if you wanted to buy actual office supplies, they would just take a card. But when you do it with their digital products, which are, to tell you the truth, you're probably not going to use them. They're like Microsoft Word 2016 software. That'll help you do it better. It's thanks. But whatever, you buy it and it's just the MacGuffin. You have to buy it, and then they say, hey, this guy's paid it back within 30 days, which you do. And they say, awesome, that's a $2,000 trade line that we're going to report to all of the credit bureaus on for just your business. That's not you, that's your business is a great borrower. And that's exactly what we want to establish as we've been working on this whole time. And similarly, they link you to Strategic Network Solutions. And it's the same thing, same exact thing. You just buy some random little thing. I bought like a business plan maker for $70 or something. They're just going to have you download some kind of digital product. Doesn't matter. And then from there, you will pay them back within that 30-day window, so 10, 20 days, something like that. Pay them, they'll send you an invoice or something, they'll say, congrats, you paid. And now you're in their good graces. You're someone who pays their debt, and you are all set. So that's a great way to establish your initial business credit that you need to get a score. And then from there, you can actually upgrade to more substantive lender accounts. Like you can get an account with Staples, you can go to Office Max, you can do that kind of thing. That's really where you want to be, where you're getting these sort of bigger name cards that are under your business's name, your LLC, and your EIN is the number that's going to be reflecting those positive changes in the score that you'll see from these strategies. So I hope that's helpful. That's kind of soup to nuts. Once you've gotten your everything established and running, you just want to be using those business credit cards as much as you can. Get as many of those as you can with points, and you can use those for almost anything any kind of expense. I wouldn't mix your business and pleasure, but hey, if you're traveling, seriously, put it on the card because you're getting these points. It totally helps in many ways. These points are invaluable. Sometimes when you sign up, they're giving you a free flight to Europe, ostensibly, if you break down the value of the points. So I hope all that's helpful. That's really the way to go. The business lending is really a great way to kind of fuel everything else you're trying to do in your life. And a lot of people never even realize that would be an option, but it really is a breath of fresh air to realize that, okay, like I'm not doomed if I don't have my particular bank account full right now. I have 1 or 2 or 3 LLCs that are viable, they've been around, I got credit cards on them. If there's a big problem, I can put something on the business card. I'm not going to go over the limits, and I'll make sure that everything's okay. I'll pay them back, and I'll make money. Because that's the idea. You want to get this capital here so you can buy something that will generate you cash flow. anything, stuff you can rent out, stuff that that you put on owner finance lending, so someone's paying you in installments more than the value of the thing. There's a million things you can do. So yeah, that is where I'll leave it. I mean, it's really up to your imagination what you do with the funds. It's sort of liberating. All of a sudden you're a capitalist, in the sense that it's not only the big guys that have access to the wherewithal to make new things happen kind of out of nothing. So you take the loan, you buy something that makes you money, you pay back the loan, and you keep making money from the thing that you bought. Hope that's helpful.